Hey, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to be drawing a bunch of men. But yeah, let's crack open the sketchbook and get right into it. So today I wanted to focus on drawing men. From what I've learned, you can learn a lot from drawing men due to their facial structure. A man's face has far more structure than a woman's due to their sharp angles, whilst a woman has softer features. So with all these drawings, I took my time to have the initial structure in the beginning and then build from there, as you know I like to do. My first male drawing did not come out as I would have liked it, and it was quite hard to get his facial structure correct. I started by shading the nose, and obviously I went back in a little later to polish this, and then the face. I like to change up my process and not be a slave to the way I do things. Next, I worked on the mouth and eyes. With the mouth, I didn't portray the realism as well as I should have, and I know something whilst doing all of these, and that is, with men and women, there isn't much difference in how the mouth is built, so they have both a similar design. I tried hatching the face after the process, but that didn't come out so well, and it just led me to overly shading over the hatching. Obviously before, I raised a little bit to just try to lighten all of that up. At some point I also added a scar, the X scar you see on the right cheek, to his face. It was just something interesting to add to cover up a mistake I made. And around the jaw area, I like to make things a little bit more dark to portray the angularness of everything. Moving on to the next guy, he was much easier to tackle than the first, and I guess this goes to show that as you keep drawing, you just keep getting more knowledge between your hand and your eye, and that's really good. But his face was overly pushed to the top, which is why he looks trippy. I also made the same mistake in the first one, and what I meant by him looking trippy and the face being overly pushed is that I had his eyes and eyebrows too high up, so the proportions weren't correct, and I only noticed this long after when I couldn't fix it. But overall, this male portrait turned out better than the first. In the reference, the guy had a beard, and I used tiny hatching lines to create the beard to this man. His hair is also way better than the first guy. See, there is much more cleaner and clear lines. I focused on the angular part of his nose first. As you guys have noticed, I love to do the nose first. Why? I used to hate drawing noses, to be quite honest. But recently I've learned how to draw a nose in the last couple of months. So that's kind of how I like to start with the nose, because I have more confidence in that, because I've fucking worked hard to get there, to get to understanding how to draw a nose. So that's why I like to start there first. And I think you can also see that there is also a big difference between men and women in terms of noses. Most women's noses are not so angular and have a sort of curvy, soft shape, especially around the wings of the nose. Also, apologies for the flashiness of the lighting. It was somewhat cloudy on the day of me filming this, and the sun kept going in and out of the clouds. And obviously, since this was time-lapsed, you know, the whole drill. So with the last guy, I drew the proportions much better in terms of the eyes being not so high up and his eyebrows too. Everything looks much better than the rest, and you can definitely see that 1 week difference in the work and how much it paid off to continue to focus on anatomy during the week that I wasn't working on the drawings for this video. And if you didn't know, I filmed this video over the course of 2 weeks due to my busy schedule, but obviously I've been doing anatomy studies during that time, and it's honestly paid off, as you will see in the last drawing. So some of the anatomy things I'd like to share with you that I learned is that the nose tapers in at the top where the eyes are. So you know the top of the nose bridge, it tapers in, going like outwards. Yeah. I also wanted to make a simpler form for the ears, and it broke the ears down into 3 lines. If like me, you struggle to draw ears, break it down into 3 simple lines, 1 for the top, 1 going down, and 1 coming in. I continued to work on the nose, which I speak about in real time a little bit later on. I spent a lot of time shading the nose and being clear with the form. Everything is sped up, but I took a lot of time with this piece, and I wanted to tell you, don't rush anything. Especially in art, just take your time to do everything. Even if one feature takes longer than it should, it's okay. Let that work teach you something useful for the future. I really took a lot of time with this last portrait, and you can see it paid off so much more than the other portraits.
If something isn't looking good, I think it's best to just scrap it and start over again. Like, for example, the nose is well built in structure and everything. When I had laid it out, it looked good, but as I was shading it, I just fucked some things up, and so we're just gonna start again and see what happens. So back to time lapse. Back to our form that we had before. It's kind of messy, but we can work with that. And one thing I've learned that I made a mistake in these 2 noses. This video was actually filmed over a process of like 2 weeks. So these 2 noses, the difference was that I let the noses continue into like the forehead area. And what I wanted to mention is that actually there's like this type of situation where it bends over right here, and so I wanted to fix that in this. So every single time you draw something, think about what you're learning, what new information are you getting from it. So yeah, I've like fixed it up right here, so let's just go into shading it and not messing it up. If you need some tips on shading noses, I know I messed this one up, but we can definitely give some tips. Like, this part is always darker than the rest of the nose, and there's always like a lighting area on the bridge, I think it's called the bridge of the nose, like right here, and like the ball of the nose, it's like a literal tiny ball of light. So keep that in mind for when you draw noses. Let's shade this nose and try to finish the face. It's looking slightly better than before. I mean, it's not the best because I was drawing on top of an erased shading. We can map out the light areas, and how you determine like light areas is really just the basic light areas. There's always going to be like some basic light areas, like around the eye area there's always like some light areas up there, and from the reference that I'm looking at, there's also like bounce light and rim light over here and here. Yeah, so also like on the forehead there's always light. So yeah, just consider all of that and keep going.
Next, I moved on to the lips, which I focused on giving form better than the other 2 drawings. Taking a lot more time with this piece helped me a lot. The eyes were easiest to work on in this last portrait, unlike the other 2, which had 2 small eyes. Giving a lot more details is what I worked on. I really missed doing that and worked so hard to improve my art all these months, only to get lazy with details and adding that. Never get lazy. It always shows, but also learn to be confident. It's why I stopped adding details. I dreaded the other 2 drawings that I did before this last one, and that lack of confidence in my skill made all of them worse than they should be, when having confidence can really help boost your drawings, even if it's just a little bit. Anyways, I moved on to shading the entire face, which was a much pleasurable process than the other two. Sometimes while I was working on faces, I forget about mapping out the light areas, and that has really been detrimental to me. So always pay attention to your reference and look for both light and shadows. Because this model had darker skin, I shaded twice over, layering 2 layers of pencil shading on top. Out the hair, which is a new thing I've begun to enjoy doing. I think you noticed that hatching has become a big part of my process. I enjoy hatching the eyebrows and hair because I just think it really looks good, and it's just my own stylistic choice.
So guys, I just finished all of these, and some turn out better than others, and every single thing you do in art is a learning experience. Every single thing you learn will help you become a better artist, obviously. So if you enjoyed this video and enjoy my content, please like the video if you did, and if you didn't, dislike it so I know what you like and you don't like. And please subscribe, and it would really help the channel. Please leave a comment down below what you'd like to see next, what you enjoyed from this video, tips you took, who your favorite character it is that I drew here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!